Moments later, the entire zombie army suddenly retreated, returning to their previous positions. Hong Lian quickly concluded that Juno's team might have succeeded in locating the Zombie King and had begun executing their mission. All remaining soldiers sighed in relief, celebrating their survival, at least for now. After the long battle, Xiao Hong Lian ordered the troops to rest. Amidst the battlefield littered with traces of war, Zhang Yi and Yu Qier embraced, sharing a moment of victory with the soldiers who were finally free from the terror of the zombie threat. Uncle Yu reported that the number of casualties was massive, with only around 500 followers of the Snow sect surviving. The Allied forces had lost nearly 80% of their army. Even so, Zhang Yi felt relieved knowing that none of his team members had been seriously injured. Yu Qier, still anxious, reminded herself to make sure her beloved was unharmed. Zhang Yi assured her he was fine, and after checking with everyone, it was confirmed that no one had suffered major injuries. Concerned for the wounded soldiers, Yu Qier asked for permission to treat them. Zhang Yi gently reminded her to be careful. The soldiers' wounds were severe, and some only needed anesthesia to get through the pain. After some time, Yu Qier managed to treat all the injured, while in the distance, Hong Lian could be seen distributing supplies. The soldiers thanked Yu Qier for her help, and Kang Yi also expressed his gratitude. Li Jian and his wife, who had seen their neighbors fall in battle, felt guilty, knowing they were the ones who had brought the people to the Snow sect. But the damage had already been done. In that emotional moment, soldiers from all factions worked together to care for the wounded, building a sense of unity in the midst of sorrow. Not long after, Jun Wu's team returned to the Snow sect, with several members visibly injured. Zhang Yi waited patiently, eager to hear how they had managed to find and defeat the Zombie King. Jun Wu reported that they had defeated 5 Zombie Kings, and their bodies were stored in the vehicle, confirming that the zombie threat had been neutralized. A wave of relief swept through everyone. Zhang Yi offered Jun Wu some food prepared by Yangmi, known for its healing properties. Jun Wu, with a faint smile, commented that Zhang Yi truly had many useful support team members. A few days after the fierce battle, the zombies in Tianhai were completely wiped out. However, the losses suffered by every group across the region were significant. Hong Lian approached Zhang Yi, expressing that although they had once been enemies, she was now glad to be allies. Zhang Yi acknowledged her leadership skills and asked if she had ever served in the military or the police. Hong Lian explained that she used to be a police officer in the investigative division. Zhang Yi, who held great respect for police officers, called them heroes and praised Hong Lian as an expert in gathering intelligence. After the brief conversation, Hong Lian walked away, and Zhang Yi found himself wondering if he could rely on her to help with further research into the entangled sectors. But his thoughts were cut short when someone suddenly approached. Reacting on instinct, and using the martial arts techniques he learned from Lian, Zhang Yi nearly broke the person's arm, until they dodged just in time. It turned out to be Wei Ding Tian. Feeling lucky, Wei greeted Zhang Yi and invited him to go sailing together. The thought of dangerous seas and shark attacks sent shivers down Zhang Yi's spine, which made Wei burst out laughing. Wei promised to bring fresh seafood next time. Zhang Yi asked whether sailing was still an option after so many of Wei's men had perished. Wei explained that although many had died, they still had enough people to operate the large ship. If Zhang Yi was interested, he only had to let them know. Zhang Yi began to notice that more and more people were trying to get close to him, and he wasn't sure if it was a good or bad sign. Quickly, he instructed Chun Lei and the others to wait near the vehicle, while Lian and Uncle Yu had already gone to check it out. Inside the vehicle, Zhang Yi saw Yu Qier looking quite enthusiastic. Still, their purpose remained the same, to share important information. Zhang Yi began to feel that something was off about the Snow Sect Temple and wanted to investigate further. Yu Qier, who seemed uneasy about almost accepting Kang Ye's offer, reported that nothing suspicious had happened at the temple. She then asked what Zhang Yi was actually trying to find out. But Zhang Yi responded with another question, this time about the Snow Sect's leader, Yuan Kang Yi. Yu Qier didn't feel there was anything strange about Kang Yi and asked why Zhang Yi was so curious. Zhang Yi explained that although Kang Yi appeared to possess only supportive abilities, he had sensed a massive offensive force earlier. He wondered if there was someone else responsible for that tremendous power. Yu Qier reported that Kang Yi had remained in the same place the entire time, praying, showing no suspicious behavior. However, she recalled that Kang Yi once offered to help her awaken a special power. Zhang Yi was shocked to hear this. Still, he asked whether Yu Qier had accepted the offer. Honestly, Yu Qier replied that although she wanted to become a mutant like the others, she had followed Zhang Yi's advice and declined. Zhang Yi felt relieved upon hearing that and reminded her that no favor ever came without hidden motives, especially from someone like Kang Yi. Although Yu Qier didn't sense anything suspicious, Zhang Yi asked her to recount everything that had happened inside the temple. Yuqier then revealed that after refusing Kang Ye's offer, 2 monsters suddenly stormed into the temple. However, Kang Ye effortlessly froze them and threw them out with just a sweep of his hand. Zhang Yi was stunned. This meant that Kang Ye was extremely powerful, likely possessing at least 4 different types of abilities. That realization made Zhang Yi wonder how one person could wield so many powers. He remembered the crystal Kang Ye had given him, the one used on Yang Mi, which had allowed someone to awaken support-type abilities. As his thoughts unfolded, Zhang Yi began to consider the possibility of a connection between the crystal and Kang Ye's powers. He speculated that Kang Ye might be able to absorb the powers of those who had used the snow crystal and later died. If that theory was correct, it would mean Kang Ye had access to an enormous number of abilities. Zhang Yi began to tremble, wondering if it was possible that Yuan Kang Ye had deliberately created the zombie outbreak to enhance his power. But the thought seemed unreasonable. The Snow sect had also suffered the highest casualties, and surely Kang Ye wouldn't destroy his own foundation. The more he thought about it, the more confused Zhang Yi became. Seeing his concern, Yuqier began to grow anxious as well. Eventually, Zhang Yi concluded that all of it was just speculation, and he would need clearer evidence before jumping to conclusions. Zhang Yi visited the Snow sect temple headquarters, hoping his suspicions were wrong. He found it puzzling that, despite having such immense power, Kang Ye did not take part in the battle. He also couldn't imagine Kang Ye being able to control so many zombies. The more he thought about it, the more complicated the questions became. Suddenly, his eyes landed on Junwoo and his group, who were gathered nearby. Zhang Yi began to wonder if Kang Ye had chosen not to act because he feared the power that originated from the southern region. However, those thoughts slowly faded. Deep down, Zhang Yi believed that in time, the truth would reveal itself. Zhang Yi then approached Junwoo's group. Wu Di, noticing his arrival, felt that his captain placed too much trust in this man. Zhang Yi asked about Junwoo's condition and quickly noticed that it had worsened, even though Junwoo tried to hide it by saying he felt no different than a few days before. Wu Di, who had also picked up on this, suggested that Junwoo return to Blizzard City for treatment. Still, Junwoo insisted on staying to ensure the zombie threat was truly over. He even offered Zhang Yi a chance to come south with them. Zhang Yi, while appreciative of the offer, chose to remain in Tianhai. He mentioned that perhaps someday, he would visit Junwoo in Blizzard City if the opportunity arose. Wu Di, dissatisfied with Zhang Yi's decision, tried to provoke him and challenged him to a duel. Zhang Yi remained calm. He seemed aware that Junwoo wouldn't entertain such a pointless fight. He explained that his abilities were better suited for support in battle. If Wu Di, an elite mutant, insisted on fighting him, it would clearly be an unfair match. If Wu Di continued to push, Zhang Yi would be forced to surrender. Wu Di, feeling his pride was being questioned, asked if Zhang Yi didn't care about his reputation in Tianhai. But Zhang Yi appeared indifferent and simply asked to be excused. Wu Di then told Junwoo that Zhang Yi was too much of a coward and questioned his captain's judgment for wanting Zhang Yi on the team. Junwoo, observing the situation, replied that this was exactly one of the reasons he respected Zhang Yi. If everyone on the team were like Wu Di, their group might have already fallen apart. As all the groups busied themselves with preparations to depart, Zhang Yi approached Hong Lian to seek some information. He felt it was a good opportunity to have a deeper conversation. Seeing that Hong Lian wasn't busy, Zhang Yi asked her to take a walk with him. Hong Lian sternly warned him that she wasn't interested in any suspicious invitations. Zhang Yi quickly clarified that he simply wanted to ask for her help with something important. Hong Lian nodded, and they chose a quieter place to continue their conversation. Zhang Yi didn't intend to discuss any specific topic at first. But he felt it was time to ask for Hong Lian's assistance with a research project. Curiosity sparked in Hong Lian. She began to wonder what Zhang Yi was looking into. Zhang Yi explained that he was seeking information related to 2 major bases, Qingpu and Koyu, as well as the Snow sect leader and his right-hand man. Hong Lian asked if Zhang Yi still didn't fully trust them. Zhang Yi responded that it was better to remain cautious and prepared for the unexpected. Hong Lian said that while obtaining the information wouldn't be impossible, she wanted to know what she would receive in return. She explained that food or weapons were no longer an issue for her base, especially after so many lives were lost. But if Zhang Yi truly needed that data, she wanted a promise in exchange. Hong Lian stated that if she ever found herself in danger, Zhang Yi must come to her aid. Zhang Yi was surprised, especially considering the ongoing snow catastrophe. But he realized that in times like these, a promise could be more valuable than any resource. Knowing that Hong Lian was willing to trust him, Zhang Yi finally agreed to her terms. Hong Lian promised to send the requested data once she returned to her base. She already had it. After that, they parted ways and returned to their respective tasks.